Alex had always been curious about the stars. Since he was a child, he would spend hours lying on the roof at night, staring at the sparkling dots in the sky, wondering what mysteries they held. That curiosity had grown into a career as an explorer, traveling to distant planets, learning about new worlds and trying to understand life beyond Earth. He had seen strange landscapes, glowing plants, and even creatures unlike anything humans had imagined, but nothing could have prepared him for what he was about to experience. On one particular mission, Alex found himself on a planet that shimmered in colors he had never seen before. The sky was a mixture of violet and gold, with clouds that seemed almost solid, like cotton stretched across the horizon. The city where he had landed looked unlike anything human-built. Towers twisted toward the sky like vines, and bridges curved in ways that seemed to defy gravity. As Alex walked through the streets, he felt like he had stepped into a dream. The air was warm, filled with a gentle hum that seemed alive, as if the planet itself were breathing. His mission was simple on paper: observe, take notes, and return. But curiosity had always been Alex's guiding star, and it led him farther than anyone expected. While exploring the heart of the city, he noticed a grand palace in the distance. Its walls shimmered like liquid metal, and its gates were adorned with symbols that glowed softly. Most of the city's residents gave it a wide berth, whispering quietly whenever someone approached. It was known as the home of the alien queen, a figure so powerful that even the bravest citizens showed her the utmost respect or fear. Alex knew that approaching the palace was risky. He had read reports of humans being turned away, or worse, being captured for trespassing. But he couldn't resist. His heart beat faster as he walked closer, fascinated by the delicate carvings and the way light reflected off the surfaces. As he reached the gates, he realized the palace was alive in its own way. Tiny creatures, luminous like fireflies, floated in the air around him, and soft music seemed to come from the walls themselves, though there were no visible instruments. He carefully stepped inside, trying to make as little noise as possible. The interior was more magnificent than he had imagined. The walls and floors seemed to shimmer with color, changing subtly as he moved. Every corner held intricate designs, some that looked like flowing water frozen in time, others like stars captured in crystal. He was so captivated that he almost didn't notice the soft cries coming from a nearby corridor. Curiosity pulled him toward the sound. He found himself in front of a room that looked like a nursery. Through a partially open door, he could see a small creature in a cradle. It was unlike anything he had ever seen. A tiny being with glowing skin that pulsed. Softly, large bright eyes and delicate limbs that seemed almost transparent. And it was crying. The sound was high-pitched, but strangely musical, echoing slightly in the spacious room. Before Alex could decide what to do, a figure appeared behind him. The alien queen. She moved with grace, every step purposeful. Her presence was commanding, yet there was a quiet elegance in the way she carried herself. Her eyes, deep and shimmering, locked on to Alex, and for a moment he felt frozen. Most of the stories he had read described her as unapproachable, but seeing her in person made him realize just how real and intimidating she was. "You shouldn't be here," she said, her voice calm but firm. Alex swallowed hard, realizing he had made a grave mistake. He started to step back, about to apologize, but something about the queen's expression made him pause. She was not angry at him yet. Her gaze shifted from him to the baby, and he noticed a hint of worry there. The baby's cries grew louder, and the queen's usual composed demeanor seemed to falter. She moved closer to the cradle, gently trying to calm the child. But her efforts didn't work. The baby continued to cry, wriggling in its little bed. Alex instinctively felt drawn to help. He had no idea how to calm an alien infant, but the urge to try was stronger than his fear. He stepped a little closer, keeping his movements slow and non-threatening. The Queen's eyes widened slightly. She had not expected him to stay, let alone move toward the baby. Alex, feeling the weight of the moment, took a deep breath. He remembered stories from Earth about soothing children, rocking, soft sounds, gentle touches. He tried to imitate what he could, moving his hands slowly and humming a quiet tune, unsure if it would have any effect. At first, nothing happened. The baby's cries grew louder, and Alex felt a pang of worry. He was out of his depth, in a world completely unlike his own, yet he refused to give up. He watched the baby carefully, noticing the way it reacted to light, movement, and sound. Slowly, he began adjusting his approach. He moved in time with the baby's breathing, mimicking the rhythm he saw. He whispered softly, even though he didn't know if the sounds were meaningful to the child. The Queen watched, her expression unreadable. Alex felt every second stretch, knowing that any wrong move could end badly. But something inside him urged patience. He focused entirely on the baby, ignoring everything else, the grandeur of the palace, the power of the Queen, even his own fear. And then something remarkable happened. The baby's cries softened slightly. Alex felt a flicker of hope. Encouraged, he continued, adjusting his movements gently. Slowly, the baby's glowing skin began to pulse more evenly, and its cries faded into soft coos. Alex's heart leapt. He had never felt anything like this, a connection, a silent understanding, across species and worlds. The Queen's expression changed subtly. A hint of surprise, maybe even admiration, appeared in her eyes. She stepped closer, but didn't interrupt, allowing Alex to continue. For the first time, he noticed the depth of her care, the way she watched every reaction of her child, balancing authority with tenderness. By the time the baby finally settled, Alex felt exhausted, but elated. He had done something extraordinary without fully understanding how or why. The Queen's gaze met his, and for the first time, she smiled. A rare, small smile that held more meaning than words. Alex didn't know it yet, but this moment would change everything. What had started as a simple exploration mission had turned into an encounter that could alter the course of his life forever. The alien Queen, impressed and intrigued, would soon make a proposition that Alex could never have imagined. But for now, he simply stood there, watching the baby rest peacefully, feeling a connection that transcended fear, language, and even worlds. And in that quiet, glowing nursery, Alex realized that sometimes the most extraordinary adventures begin not with discovery, but with compassion. After the moment of quiet in the nursery, Alex felt a strange mix of relief and tension. He had calmed the alien baby, something he never imagined he could do, yet he also realized he had stepped into a situation far beyond his usual missions. The alien Queen, standing a few feet away, watched him with an expression that was difficult to read. It was not anger, but it was not complete approval either. There was curiosity, and perhaps a test hidden within her gaze. The baby, now nestled in its small glowing cradle, blinked at Alex with wide, shimmering eyes. It made soft cooing sounds, reaching out tiny hands as if to touch him. Alex froze for a moment, amazed at the trust that seemed to have formed instantly between him and the child. He had never experienced anything like this, not even with human babies. The connection felt almost magical, as if understanding had passed silently across the divide of species. Then, the Queen spoke, her voice calm but commanding, cutting through the quiet of the room. "You have done well," she said, and Alex felt a shiver run down his spine. Her voice was beautiful and clear, but every word carried authority. "Few have ever been able to soothe my child, You have patience and understanding. Tell me, human, are you aware of the significance of this act? Alex swallowed hard. He was aware that in alien cultures, small gestures could have enormous meaning, but he didn't know exactly what she meant. I just tried to help, he said honestly, keeping his hands where the baby could see him but not touch him too roughly. I didn't mean anything more than that. The Queen studied him for a long moment. Many have attempted to calm my child before. Some fail, some succeed by accident, but you have done so intentionally and with care. That is rare among your kind. Her words carried weight, and Alex felt both proud and nervous. He knew he had achieved something unusual, but he also sensed that the Queen was testing him further. Then, unexpectedly, she leaned slightly closer, her eyes narrowing with a new expression, part amusement, part challenge. There is more to this test, she said. You have shown skill, yet your reward could be far greater than you realize. I will offer you a proposition, but it is not simple. Are you willing to hear it? Alex's heart skipped a beat. A proposition from the alien queen herself? He nodded quickly, even though he had no idea what kind of challenge or promise lay ahead. Yes, I will listen, he said carefully. The Queen's lips curved into a small smile, rare and almost imperceptible. If you can continue to care for my child, to soothe, comfort, and protect it, I will consider granting you an unusual honor, a bond beyond friendship or alliance. One that is recognized in my culture as the highest form of trust. She paused, letting her words sink in. Alex could feel the weight of what she was saying, though the meaning was still partly unclear. You mean marriage? He asked cautiously, almost afraid to speak the words. The Queen nodded, her expression serious now. Yes, marriage. But understand this. This is not an offer to be taken lightly. Caring for my child is not easy. It requires patience, observation, and understanding beyond what most humans possess. If you accept, your life will change forever in ways you cannot yet imagine. Alex was speechless. Marriage to an alien queen was something he had never dreamed possible, not even in his wildest imaginings. The idea seemed impossible, yet he felt a strange pull toward the challenge. It was not just the allure of honor or adventure, but a deeper curiosity. Could he truly rise to this test? Could he form a bond with the child and the Queen in a way that mattered? The baby made a small sound, almost like a question, and reached out its glowing hands again. Alex bent slightly, keeping his gissa movements gentle, and let the child rest against his arm carefully. He felt the weight of responsibility immediately. The tiny body was fragile, yet it radiated energy in a way that was almost overwhelming. He realized that the test was not only about calming cries or soothing tantrums, it was about understanding the rhythm of the child's needs, its moods, and its world. For the next few hours, Alex remained in the nursery, learning to read subtle signals. When the baby twitched, it meant hunger. When its glow pulsed faster, it meant discomfort. When it blinked rapidly, it wanted attention. Alex adjusted constantly, sometimes rocking gently, sometimes humming soft tones, sometimes just holding the child and letting it settle. Each small success gave him confidence, and each failure taught him something new. The Queen observed silently, occasionally offering guidance with a word or gesture, but mostly letting Alex work independently. He could feel her scrutiny, yet also her growing respect. She was testing him, but not out of malice. She was searching for someone who could truly connect with her child, who could show empathy and patience beyond the ordinary. As evening approached, Alex began to notice subtle changes in the palace atmosphere. The glowing lights softened, and the air felt warmer. The baby, now calm and resting comfortably against him, seemed to recognize Alex as a protector, responding to his presence with trust rather than fear. Alex realized that this connection was more profound than he had expected. It was not simply about quieting cries. It was about understanding, predicting, and responding to needs in a way that built trust. The Queen finally spoke again, her voice softer now, tinged with a rare warmth. "You are learning quickly," she said. "Most would fail. Most would become frustrated or fearful. But you observe, you adjust, and you continue. That is why I offer this chance." Alex felt a mixture of pride and humility. He had come to this planet as an explorer, seeking knowledge, but he had found something far more personal, a chance to connect across worlds, to earn the trust of a being so unlike himself, and to form a bond that could change his life forever. Yet, even as excitement filled him, Alex felt the weight of responsibility. Caring for an alien child was not a temporary task. It was a commitment that required constant attention, learning, and patience. He knew he could not take it lightly. Each day would bring new challenges, new discoveries, and perhaps new risks. But in that moment, holding the glowing infant and looking into the Queen's eyes, he felt ready to accept the challenge. The Queen stepped closer, her expression now almost gentle. "You will face tests that are unseen, challenges that may not be obvious. But if you succeed, you will not only gain my trust, but the bond of my family and the respect of my people. Do you understand what I am offering?" Alex nodded, though words failed him. He understood that this was more than a reward. It was an invitation into a world of responsibility, respect, and deep trust. And though fear lingered at the edges of his mind, a sense of determination filled him. He would try, he would learn, and perhaps against all odds, he could succeed. As the sun, or what passed for it on this alien planet, set behind the shimmering towers, Alex held the baby close, feeling a strange but comforting warmth. He realized that this was only the beginning, that the path ahead would be challenging, unpredictable, and unlike anything he had known. But for the first time in his life, he felt that he was exactly where he needed to be, ready to face the unknown with courage, care, and determination. The following morning, Alex woke with a strange sense of purpose. The memory of the previous day, of calming the alien baby and witnessing the Queen's rare smile, lingered in his mind. He had expected that the challenge would end once the child was quiet, but he soon realized that this was only the beginning. The Queen had made her offer, and now he had to prove that he could truly care for her child day after day, moment after moment. As he stepped into the nursery, the baby's glowing eyes focused on him immediately. It reached out with tiny hands, cooing softly. Alex smiled, feeling a warmth he had never experienced before. This connection, simple as it seemed, held more meaning than anything he had felt with humans. It was trust, pure, unspoken, and powerful. He knew that the Queen had noticed it too, watching silently from the doorway, observing how naturally he responded to the child's needs. Alex began the morning by carefully examining the baby's reactions. He noticed patterns he hadn't seen before, the way the glow brightened when it was excited, the subtle changes in breathing when it was anxious, and the tiny shivers that meant it needed comfort. Every detail mattered, and Alex paid attention to all of them. He rocked the baby gently, hummed soft tones, and spoke in low, soothing words. The infant responded, its cries softening into coos and occasional giggles. Alex felt a sense of accomplishment, but he knew this was just the first of many tests. Throughout the day, Alex learned to anticipate the baby's needs. When it fussed after a short nap, he knew it was hungry. When it wriggled in its cradle, he realized it wanted to play. He began to use small, rhythmic movements that seemed to soothe it naturally. The queen occasionally offered subtle guidance, a tilt of the head, a gesture of the hand, but mostly she observed quietly, letting him learn. The palace itself was full of wonders. Walls that shimmered with soft colors, furniture that seemed to float slightly above the floor, and corridors that twisted in impossible ways. But Alex found himself focused entirely on the nursery, the room where he could make a real difference. He realized that this was the heart of the queen's life, and by caring for her child, he was entering a world few outsiders ever experienced. At one point, the baby began to cry more loudly than before, its glow pulsing rapidly. Alex felt a surge of panic but quickly reminded himself to stay calm. He adjusted his approach, holding the child closer and speaking in even softer tones. He noticed the baby's tiny hands reaching toward him, and he mimicked its movements, creating a small rhythm that seemed to comfort it. Slowly, the cries subsided, replaced by gentle coos and soft breathing. The queen's eyes softened as she watched. There was a mixture of surprise and admiration in her gaze. She had seen many humans try and fail, but Alex's patience and intuition were rare. She realized that his ability to connect with the child went beyond simple techniques. It was empathy, a true understanding of needs and emotions, even across species. As the day progressed, Alex began to understand more about the baby's personality. It was curious, playful, and highly intelligent for its age. It responded to gestures, recognized patterns, and seemed to enjoy interaction that was both gentle and engaging. Alex found himself inventing small games, moving his hands in patterns, offering soft sounds, and watching how the baby reacted. Each small success filled him with confidence, but he remained cautious, aware that one mistake could undo all progress. The queen finally spoke again, her voice quiet but firm. "You are learning faster than I expected. Few humans could achieve what you have done in such a short time. Tell me, human, do you feel ready to take on the full responsibility of caring for my child?" Alex hesitated. Ready? Could anyone ever feel fully prepared for something like this? But as he looked at the baby's glowing face, he realized that readiness was not about knowing everything. It was about patience, observation, and the willingness to learn. I will try," he said honestly. "I will do everything I can." The queen nodded. "That is all I ask. This child's life, and by extension the trust of my people, depends on your care. Your actions will be watched closely, not only by me but by those who serve in the palace. Fail, and the consequences will be severe. Succeed, and you will have gained something rare, a bond that lasts a lifetime." Alex felt the weight of her words, but instead of fear, he felt determination. He had come this far, and he would not turn back. He spent the rest of the day attending to the child, learning to read the smallest signals and reacting with care. He discovered that patience was the key. Rushing, even slightly, would make the baby anxious. Moving slowly, watching closely, and responding gently became his routine. As evening fell, Alex noticed another subtle change. The baby began to anticipate his movements. When he reached out, it leaned slightly, recognizing the rhythm and expecting comfort. This small but profound connection gave Alex hope. He realized that he was not just soothing the child. He was forming a bond built on trust and mutual understanding. The queen observed silently from the doorway, her expression unreadable at first, but gradually softening. She had been cautious, skeptical even, but Alex's calmness, patience, and intuition had impressed her deeply. She saw in him someone who could handle responsibility, someone capable of empathy and care beyond simple technique. By the end of the day, Alex felt exhausted, but fulfilled. Holding the sleeping child in his arms, he understood the true meaning of responsibility. This was more than a challenge. It was a journey of trust, patience, and connection. He realized that success was measured not by dramatic actions, but by the small, consistent choices he made every moment. As he returned the child to the cradle, the queen stepped forward, her eyes softening. "You are learning quickly," she said. "This is the first step. There will be more challenges, tests that will push you further, but you have shown promise. Remember, empathy and patience are your greatest tools. Use them wisely." Alex nodded, understanding the gravity of her words. He had entered this palace as an explorer, curious and cautious. But now, he was on a path that could change his life, forever. The queen's offer of marriage, once a shocking idea, no longer seemed impossible. It felt like a reward for understanding, care, and connection. As he left the nursery, Alex felt a mixture of excitement and apprehension. He had proven himself capable in small ways, but the journey ahead would be long and filled with unexpected challenges. Yet he also felt a strange sense of belonging. He had entered a world completely unlike his own, and for the first time, he felt that he was making a real difference. That night, as the palace shimmered under the alien sky, Alex reflected on the day. He realized that true courage was not in facing unknown dangers, but in caring deeply, observing closely, and learning patiently. The bond he was forming with the baby was just beginning, but it already held the power to change everything: his life, the Queen's life, and perhaps even the course of events on this distant planet. And in that quiet moment, Alex understood something important. The most extraordinary journeys often begin with a small act of kindness, and the most remarkable connections are built on patience, empathy, and the willingness to understand. He was ready to continue, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, and ready to earn the trust of the alien queen and her child. Days passed, and Alex settled into a rhythm with the baby. Each morning began with careful observation, watching the glowing infant, noticing tiny movements, and learning how it communicated without words. Slowly, Alex understood that calming the child was not a single act, but a continuous process, a dance of attention, patience, and empathy. Every little sigh, every blink, every wave of its tiny hands carried meaning, and Alex listened carefully to each one. The queen observed him, constantly though not always directly. Sometimes she would appear at the doorway, her eyes studying every gesture, every reaction. She was testing more than just Alex's ability to soothe the child. She was watching his character, his patience, and his heart. Every successful moment of connection between him and the baby increased her respect for him, though she remained cautious. The alien world was one of rules, hierarchy, and tradition, and the queen could not simply trust anyone, even a human one. Afternoon, as Alex played gently with the baby, he noticed something remarkable. The infant began responding in ways he had not yet seen. When he moved his hands in a slow circular motion, the baby mirrored the movement, stretching its tiny arms, and glowing brighter with delight. When he hummed a soft tune, the child's coos matched the rhythm. Alex realized that the connection between them was growing into a form of communication, subtle but powerful, bridging the gap between two species. The queen stepped into the room, quietly, her presence commanding yet calm. She watched, her eyes shining with a mixture of surprise and admiration. "You are learning faster than I expected," she said softly. "Few humans could create such a bond. Most would struggle, fail, or grow frustrated. But you continue with patience and care. That is rare." Alex felt a mix of pride and humility. He was proud to have earned her recognition, yet he understood that the queen's praise came with responsibility. This was not a simple game or challenge. It was a test of character, endurance, and empathy. One wrong step could undo the progress he had made, and perhaps even anger the queen. He nodded silently, determined to continue. Over the next several hours, Alex experimented with new ways to engage the baby. He discovered that it responded, not only to touch and sound, but also to patterns of movement. A gentle sway, a soft clap, or a tiny wave could make it giggle or calm down instantly. Each discovery filled him with excitement, but he remained careful, never rushing, always observing the child's reactions. The queen, impressed, finally approached closer. "You have shown great skill," she said. "Not only in calming the child, but in understanding it. That is the true test. This child requires more than lullabies or gentle rocking. It requires insight, empathy, and constant attention. Do you understand the responsibility you carry?" Alex nodded. "I understand. I will continue to do everything I can to care for the baby. I want to learn not just for myself, but for the child and for you." Her eyes softened slightly. "Good. That is what I hope to hear. Care is not given lightly here. It is earned, nurtured, and respected. You are beginning to earn it, human. But there is more you must see, more than simple soothing. True care requires understanding, trust, and presence, even when the challenge seems small or routine." That evening, Alex noticed something even more surprising. The baby began to anticipate his actions, reaching out or cooing before he even moved. It had learned his gestures, his rhythm, and perhaps even his intent. The realization struck Alex deeply. This was no longer about him teaching the child. It was a true connection, a silent partnership, a communication that transcended words. He felt a deep sense of joy and responsibility, knowing that the trust was mutual. The queen, witnessing this, allowed herself a rare smile. "You have achieved what many could not. You have not only calmed the child, but have formed a bond. This is remarkable, human. Rarely has someone outside our world gained such trust, especially in such a short time." Alex felt a wave of humility. He had expected challenges, perhaps even failure, but he had not imagined forming a bond this strong. He realized that the queen's offer of marriage was not merely ceremonial. It was a recognition of his character, patience, and understanding. It was an honor earned, not given lightly. Over the following days, Alex continued to learn and adapt. He observed subtle cues he had previously missed. The way the baby's glow changed when it was curious, the slight shifts in posture when it felt comforted, and even the small sounds that signaled joy or fear. Each discovery strengthened the connection and deepened the queen's respect. One afternoon, the queen spoke again, her voice carrying a new tone, soft but deliberate. "You have shown patience, insight, and understanding. These qualities are rare, even among my people. It is clear that you care deeply, not just for the child, but for the bond you are forming. This is why I now extend my formal consideration." Alex's heart raced. He had expected some recognition, perhaps praise, but the queen's words carried far more weight than he anticipated. He realized she was not only offering approval, but was beginning to consider him worthy of a place in her world, a bond that went beyond tradition or duty. "You are aware of the significance?" she continued. "Marriage in my culture is not only a union of two beings, but a symbol of trust, respect, and shared responsibility. It represents a promise that the bond formed with the child, and by extension with me, will be honored and protected. Are you prepared for such a commitment?" Alex hesitated, reflecting on the journey so far. He had learned patience, empathy, and care. He had built a trust that transcended worlds. Though the responsibility was enormous, he felt ready. He nodded, his voice steady despite his nerves. "I am ready. I will do my best to honor the trust and the bond." The queen's expression softened, her eyes reflecting a mixture of approval and hope. "Very well. You have shown that you are capable of understanding, care, and respect. These are the qualities I value most. From this moment, you are no longer merely an observer. You are becoming part of our world, part of this family, if you continue to earn it. Alex felt a sense of awe and humility. He realized that the journey had changed him, not only in what he had learned, but in who he had become. He was no longer just an explorer of distant worlds. He was a guardian, a teacher, and a companion. He had gained the trust of the queens, most precious being, and in doing so, had earned a place in her life, a place few humans could ever imagine. As he watched the baby sleep, glowing softly in its cradle, Alex understood the true meaning of the queen's words. Trust, empathy, and patience were more powerful than any force he had encountered. By forming a bond with the child, he had begun to bridge two worlds, creating a connection that could change everything. And in that quiet palace, under the soft shimmer of alien lights, Alex felt the weight of responsibility, the thrill of accomplishment, and the first glimmer of hope for a future he had never dared to imagine, a future that now seemed possible because of patience, care, and the silent understanding between a human and an alien child. Days turned into weeks, and Alex's life inside the palace became a rhythm unlike anything he had ever experienced. Caring for the baby was no longer a challenge. It had become a shared life, a partnership built on trust, observation, and mutual understanding. The infant had grown more confident, playful, and responsive, and Alex had learned to anticipate every movement, every sound, and even the faint changes in its glow. The queen continued to observe him, her expressions shifting from curiosity to admiration. She had seen countless humans fail in subtle ways, but Alex had succeeded by showing patience, empathy, and attentiveness. The bond he had formed with her child had earned her respect, and slowly she began to treat him less as an outsider and more as someone who could belong in her world. One afternoon, Alex noticed the baby trying to imitate his movements. When he raised his hands, the infant waved its tiny arms. When he hummed softly, the baby tried to match the tune. Alex laughed quietly, a feeling of pure joy spreading through him. He realized that what they had was no longer just care. It was a connection, a communication beyond words, a silent understanding that bridged two species. The queen approached quietly, watching the scene. Her usual regal composure softened, revealing pride and perhaps a hint of affection. "You have done what few could," she said. "Not only have you calmed my child, but you have also taught it trust, and in turn, it has taught you patience, joy, and understanding. This is rare, human." Alex nodded, humbled. "I've learned more than I ever imagined," he said. "Not just about the child, but about responsibility, empathy, and the kind of connection that changes everything. I didn't expect... I never thought I could feel this way, even with someone so different from me." The queen's eyes softened further. "That is why my offer stands. You have shown that you are capable of understanding, patience, and care. You have earned my trust, and you have formed a bond with my child. These qualities matter more than anything else. If you continue to show the same devotion, there is a place for you in my life and in our world." Alex felt a mixture of awe, gratitude, and nervousness. The idea of marrying the alien queen had once seemed impossible, even unimaginable. But now, after days of shared experiences, moments of laughter, patience, and quiet understanding, it felt real. It was not simply a reward. It was recognition of the trust he had earned and the connection he had nurtured. Over the following days, Alex spent more time learning about the palace, its people, and the customs of the alien world. Everything was fascinating. The way the staff moved and spoke, the delicate rituals of daily life, and the intricate balance of power and respect that governed the queen's realm. But he never forgot the most important part of his day, the time with the baby. Every laugh, coo, and movement reminded him of why he had been brought into this world and why the Queen had offered him such an extraordinary chance. One evening, as the alien sun dipped below the horizon, the Queen invited Alex to walk with her in the palace gardens. The paths glowed faintly under their feet, and luminous flowers swayed gently in the breeze. The baby was safely resting in its nursery, and Alex felt a sense of calm as he followed the Queen. "You have exceeded my expectations," she said softly. "Your patience, your empathy, and your ability to learn quickly have not only impressed me, but have also earned the respect of those who serve here. You have proven yourself in ways few outsiders could. Tell me, Alex, do you understand the depth of what you have accomplished?" Alex nodded, his heart full. "I think I'm beginning to. I've learned that care isn't just about actions. It's about understanding, trust, and consistency. I've also realized that respect and connection are built slowly, with patience and attention to detail. I didn't expect that such simple acts could mean so much." The Queen smiled, a rare and gentle expression that Alex had begun to cherish. "That understanding is exactly what matters. You have shown that you can be trusted, not only with my child, but with a place in my life. And with that trust comes a bond that is recognized in our culture as sacred. If you continue to honor it, our connection can grow even stronger." As weeks continued, Alex and the baby shared countless small moments that strengthened their bond. He would hum softly while rocking the infant, who responded with tiny giggles and playful gestures. He learned to anticipate moods, comfort anxieties, and even understand what excitement looked like in alien expressions. The Queen watched silently from time to time, her admiration growing. She had never seen a human form such a deep and natural connection with her child. One day, the Queen herself spoke in a tone that was both formal and heartfelt. "Alex, you have shown that you are not only capable, but also worthy of trust. You have earned your place here, and the bond you have formed is something I value above all else. If you choose to continue on this path, your life will be intertwined with mine, with this child, and with my people. The choice is yours." Alex felt a profound sense of purpose. He had come to this alien world as an explorer, seeking adventure and knowledge. Instead, he had discovered connection, responsibility, and trust. He looked at the baby, glowing softly in its crib, and felt a wave of love and protectiveness. He looked at the Queen, whose gaze reflected respect and hope, and realized that his answer was clear. I want to continue," he said sincerely. "I want to care for the child, learn from them, and honor the trust you have placed in me. I want to be part of your world, not because of reward, but because of the bond we've built." The Queen's eyes softened, and for the first time, she allowed a full, genuine smile. "Then it is settled," she said. "You are no longer merely a visitor in this palace. You are part of this family. Your bond with the child is recognized, and your place beside me is earned. May this be the beginning of a life built on trust, care, and understanding." Alex felt a mixture of relief, joy, and awe. The journey had been unexpected, challenging, and sometimes overwhelming, but he had succeeded in a way he could never have imagined. The trust of the Queen and her child, the respect he had earned, and the connection he had formed were more valuable than any adventure or discovery he had ever experienced. From that day forward, Alex's life was transformed. He continued to care for the baby, learning new things every day, and slowly became an accepted member of the palace. His connection with the Queen grew deeper, rooted in shared responsibility, trust, and mutual respect. Every day was an adventure, not of danger or exploration, but of learning, empathy, and love. And in the quiet moments, when the palace shimmered under alien skies, Alex realized that the most extraordinary journeys are not always those that take us to distant lands. They are the ones that teach us patience, care, and the power of connection. He had come to a strange world as a human explorer, and he had found a place where he truly belonged, alongside the alien queen and her child, in a bond that would last a lifetime.